We all love a good idea, right? Something that just works. The fastest, the best, the most effective solution. But what happens when an idea works too well? So well that it becomes a massive threat. So good that the only thing left to do is to ban it. Yeah, that's exactly the wild paradox we're diving into. We're going to look at some inventions that were so brutally effective, they literally broke the system. I mean, we're talking about stuff that sprinted right past genius and slammed headfirst into downright dangerous, forcing society to step in and shut them down for good. So first up, let's talk about deadly protection. We're winding the clock back to a time when just trying to protect your property could get someone killed, all thanks to some inventions that were, you guessed it, a little too good at their job.
Okay, so picture this. It's the 1800s, right? And people keep sneaking into your garden and stealing your veggies. What do? Well, you come up with a terrifyingly simple solution. Basically, a mousetrap for people. You just rig up a loaded gun with a tripwire and walk away. It was cheap, it was easy, and man, was it effective.
And this is where things got real. After some poor soul got seriously hurt just trying to snag some fruit, the courts basically had to slam on the brakes and say, whoa, hang on a second. We can't just have automated killing fields on every farm. And that's when they laid down a rule we still follow today. You can't use a machine to kill someone just to protect your stuff. A human life, even someone making a dumb mistake, is worth more than that.
All right, let's jump forward a bit to a backyard threat you might actually remember: lawn darts. And no, I'm not talking about those flimsy plastic ones you see today. These were the real deal. Heavy, metal-tipped mini javelins designed to do one thing perfectly: stick in the ground. The problem was, they were a little too good at it.
Get this, 6,100. That's how many people ended up in the emergency room because of these things in just one decade in the US alone. See, their incredible ability to pierce the ground, well, it didn't really distinguish between grass and, people. After a 7-year-old girl was tragically killed by one, they were finally banned outright in 1988. Their perfect design was literally a fatal flaw.
Okay, moving on to our next category: unfair advantages. This is all about those inventions that give someone such a massive, insane edge that it just shatters the whole idea of a fair fight, whether we're talking about in the wild or in the sports arena.
Imagine you're a deer out in the woods at night. All of a sudden, bam, you're hit with this super bright light. Your brain just glitches. You're frozen. That's because nocturnal animals have eyes built to soak up every tiny bit of light, so a huge blast like that just completely overloads their system. As a hunting trick, it's unbelievably effective. Maybe a little too effective. Seriously, spotlighting was like activating a cheat code in real life. Hunters were taking down more animals in a single night than they normally would in an entire season. And what happened? Wildlife populations started to plummet. It was so unsportsmanlike. It really was like bringing a machine gun to a boxing match. So now, yeah, it's illegal pretty much everywhere. You get caught, you're looking at huge fines and saying goodbye to your hunting license.
So from a hunting cheat code to a biological one, let's go back to the 1950s. All of a sudden, Soviet athletes are just dominating. I mean, they're shattering world records left and right. Everyone's asking, what's their secret? Well, it turned out to be a real-life superhero serum: anabolic steroids. This stuff let them train harder and recover faster than anyone thought was humanly possible.
And just look at how insane this advantage was. A regular athlete, right? You do a hard workout. You need about 48 hours for your muscles to heal up. But an athlete on steroids, they can be ready to go again in just a few hours. This kicked off a full-blown chemical arms race in sports. It got to the point where if you weren't using, you just had no chance of keeping up.
So by 1975, the Olympics finally said, enough is enough. And look, obviously the health risks were a big deal, but that wasn't the only reason for the ban. The real issue? Steroids were banned because they were just too good. They completely obliterated the whole concept of fair competition.
Okay, let's jump to the digital age. This is where things get really crazy, where innovation turns into mass disruption, and this ruthless efficiency doesn't just work, it goes viral, leaving lawmakers scrambling to keep up. You know the call. We've all gotten it. Your phone buzzes, you see it's a local number, so you think, okay, maybe this is important. You answer, and you hear that dreaded robot voice. Yep, that's robocalling software, a piece of tech so annoyingly efficient, you almost have to respect it. But seriously, get ready for this number. One single robocalling operation made over 1 billion calls in less than 5 months. Let that sink in. That's something like 5,000 calls every single minute. The scale is it's completely insane. So what's the secret sauce behind this evil efficiency? Well, first, it spoofs a local number, tricking you into picking up. Smart. Second, it can detect an answering machine and hangs up instantly, not wasting a single second. And the real kicker? It's so cheap to operate that it only needs a fraction of a percent of people to fall for the scam to make a ton of money. It's so brutally effective that Congress had to write brand new laws just to try and stop it.
Let's take a trip back to 1999. Remember that? If you wanted one song, you had to go buy the entire CD for like $18. Or you could try to download it and wait half an hour for one grainy MP3. And then Napster showed up. All of a sudden, the entire history of recorded music was at your fingertips. You just typed in a song and poof, it was on your computer. Instantly, for free. This wasn't just an app, it was a full-on revolution.
And man, did it explode. At its height, Napster had more than 80 million people all sharing music. The music industry completely lost its mind. I mean, their entire business model, selling you little plastic discs, was wiped out practically overnight. Why? Because Napster was just too damn good at giving people what they actually wanted.
Of course, the record labels sued them into oblivion, and the courts shut Napster down in 2001. But the damage was done. You can't put that genie back in the bottle. Every single streaming service we use today, Spotify, Apple Music, you name it, they all exist because Napster proved there was a much better way. It was illegal, sure, but its DNA is in everything we listen to now. Spotify is just Napster wearing a suit and tie.
So we've gone from spring guns to steroids to software. What's the common thread here? What's the big lesson from all these dangerously brilliant ideas?
It really comes down to this. There's a razor-thin line between a genius solution and a devastating problem. Every single thing we've talked about started out as a brilliant fix for something, but they were so incredibly effective they tipped the scales way too far and ended up creating a new problem that was way worse than the original.
And that brings us right back to today. I mean, just look around. We're surrounded by game-changing tech, from AI that can create anything, to gene editing that can change our very biology. It's all getting more and more powerful by the second. So I'll leave you with this question. What's the next big thing that's about to cross that line? What technology that we're using right now is on the verge of becoming too effective to be legal?